Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be looking at another game that I think you guys should really consider having a go with. Now, I'm sure that a lot of the viewers of these kind of gaming channels, you're familiar with these two games in front of me here, D100 Dungeon by Martin Knight and 4 Against Darkness by Ganesha Games. These are, I don't know whether I'd use the word heavyweights, but these are probably the more famous dungeon delve games for solo play, and they are both amazing games. Now, I do have a confession. I have both the books, as you can see, but as yet I haven't actually played these games. I've read the rules, I've seen some videos, but I haven't actually played yet, and there's a good reason for that. I know that when I start these games, I'm going to invest a lot of time. I know I'm going to lose myself in these games for the longest time. But I'm going to have to do it at some point. I'm going to have to get into these games and say goodbye to my sleep for the next few months. However, what I would like to do today is to bring your attention to a third dungeon delving solo game that in some ways is very similar to these games, but in other ways it is its own game. Just like D100 is similar but different from 4 Against Darkness and vice versa. Now, the game that I would like to introduce you guys to is NoteQuest. Now, I haven't seen much in terms of YouTube content for this game. Most of the videos that I've seen have been in Portuguese because the designer, Tiago Junges, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, I'm so sorry, Tiago. He's Brazilian. And if you've seen some of my other videos, you may remember that I did a couple of videos for one of his other games, Ronin. I'll put the links up the top here. This was a really good game. I really enjoyed this. Really good design, really good atmosphere. And after playing and recording the Ronin, I was interested to see what other games he designed, and I found this one, NoteQuest. And it is very similar to D100 and 4 Against Darkness, but it's not the same. You can very easily have all three of these games and have fun with all of them and have a different experience with all of them. And that's what I do recommend. I don't recommend you guys just picking one and just playing that one game. No. Variety is the spice of life. You should try all three of these. And what I'm going to do in this video is to go over the NoteQuest rules and the game, just as an overview. So you guys can get an idea about what it is, what it has, maybe some pros, maybe some cons. And then I'm going to do at least another 2 videos because I want to do some gameplay videos as well of NoteQuest. And I'm sure at some point in the near future, I'm also going to give these 2 big boys a go as well. So this is going to be the focus for today's video. I am going to be giving an overview of NoteQuest by Tiago Junges, coisinhaverde. You can find this on DriveThruRPG, but it's not under coisinhaverde, the company name. It's under Green Little Thing. I think that's the English translation of the company name. So join me in a second. I will clear everything away and we will go through NoteQuest. Okay, so as I mentioned, NoteQuest is another dungeon delver. You will create a character. In this game, you're playing one character, like D100, and you will then randomly generate a dungeon. The rooms, the corridors, the stairs, the contents, the monsters, it's all going to be randomly generated. And you will journey through this dungeon trying to find treasure and coins and defeat the final boss. NoteQuest comes in 2 forms. The first form is the basic game, and that is, I think it's 24 pages. It's pay what you want. They recommend $5, but it's pay what you want, so you can actually download it for free if you want to. And those 24 pages include the rules and I think 6 different types of dungeon. There is also a second version called the... Hang on a sec. It's called the Expanded World. This is going to cost you $2. It's $2, but it's a worthwhile investment because $2 you will get the basic game, the basic book, plus. You'll get a lot of extra stuff, and that really does add to the game. It kind of brings the game to a completely different level. And when you purchase the Expanded World, the bigger version, you get the basic game inside as well. So you don't have to buy the basic game and the expanded game. Just buy the expanded game. It includes everything, okay? If we have a quick look inside here, this is the contents for the expanded version, the $2 version. The first part, up to here, page 24, this is the basic game that you can download for free. But you're getting another 40 pages of contents for that extra $2. It was well worth it. We're going to have a look through the book. I'm going to show you what you get. But it's well worth that small investment of $2. Not $2.50, not $3.50, $2. Now that may sound very cheap. In fact, yes, it is very cheap. If you compare to the other games, what have we got? Four Against Darkness. I think the basic book is $12 retail price, but you can normally get it for about $8, I think. Well, I mean, $8 is a lot more expensive than $2, but trust me, $8 is still very high value for money considering what you get from just this one book. You get hours and hours and hours of adventures in this, just the core book. Now, Four Against Darkness has a ton of expansions, which will also, a lot of them cost money as well. But I wouldn't say that it's a waste of money or that it's too expensive. You really do get good value for money. It's just that it is more expensive than NoteQuest. But yeah, very good game. D100 Dungeon. I mean, this is, of the three, I think this is the most expensive. I think the basic, the core book, I think is about $14 US. And again, there are expansions for this, but the base book itself will give you many hours of enjoyment. But yeah, I mean, comparatively, this one is the most expensive. About $14 for about 74 pages. But again, hours and hours of fun. NoteQuest, $2. And possibly the same amount of fun. But like I say, all three do have differences. They're not just reskins of the same thing. They do things in a different way. And I'm sure that all of us dungeon delvers and solo gamers will enjoy all of them. All right, what do we need to play this game? You pay the $2, you download the file, you print it out. What else do you need? Well, you've got the book. You are also going to need some kind of graph paper, like a square grid. You may also want to use an isometric grid if you want to do a more sort of 3D-ish or sort of isometric drawing of the dungeon. But this is for the dungeon design. In the advanced rules that we'll cover a bit later, you may also want to have hex grid paper. So the book, some kind of grid paper, you need pencil and razor, and you need some D6 dice. Now for the basic game, you need 2 dice. For the more advanced game later, you need 3 dice. And that is it. You can, if you want to, use a character sheet, but it's not necessary. There's not a lot of things to write down. You can just write it down on a piece of paper. It's not a huge set of statistics and items and abilities. No. It's very, very simple. And like I say, you don't need to have a sort of designated character sheet. You can just write it down on paper, like I say. But to keep things organized and to look nice for the camera, I have done, and I will be using this character sheet. Now, I did get this and the dungeon sheet from the Facebook group, the NoteQuest Facebook group, but they were in Portuguese. The Facebook group for NoteQuest, I think, is pretty much Portuguese in terms of the population, the members. And a lot of the files will also be in Portuguese. So I actually had to do some translation online, and I had to manually go in and change the Portuguese to English. On the dungeon sheet, I had to do the same thing. You've got in this case, the isometric grid. I may do one with a standard square grid. You've also got space here to put down all the different monsters and whatever. And again, it was in Portuguese on the Facebook group. I just redid it to be English because I don't speak Portuguese. What else do you need? Well, another thing that you might need but is not included is a quick reference sheet. Now I say that it's not needed because even after an hour, you've probably got most of this down anyway, and you probably don't need most of this. But I produced this. I just quickly put together a quick reference sheet just for me as I'm learning the game, as I'm playing the game. Also in terms of the video to actually sort of present the information. Because the thing is that there's not a lot of rules. I said that the basic game was 24 pages. Yeah, there's 5 pages of rules. That's it. Yeah, there's only 5 pages of rules, and some of that is just creating a character. So there's not a huge amount of things to remember. But you know me, if you watch my videos before, I tend to forget things and get things wrong. So rather than keep coming back to these pages during the video to sort of find something, I just put sort of the things that I might forget onto a quick reference sheet so that I can put to one side and reference without having to keep flipping the pages. Okay. And that's, like I say, that's all you really need. Book, grid, dice, pencil and eraser. That's it. Right, let us take a look inside. I'm going to give you a quick overview of the game. I will run some dungeons and also the advanced game in other videos because otherwise this video will be too long. All right, so as you can see here in the contents, it includes the basic book, the basic rules and everything, and the basic dungeons. And then the advanced book also has a lot of other stuff, such as going into a bit more detail in terms of the world around you, in terms of other worlds, new races, new classes. There's a lot of other things involved in this game. In fact, reading through the rules, I'm kind of getting the impression that it's like 3 or 4 different games compressed into one, which is really good. Right, so let's have a look and see. Right, first thing you're going to need to do is to create an adventurer. You will be playing one character. And it does say here, you will play with a weak adventurer after fame and fortune. Good luck, you're going to need it. And then down here it says, if you die, which is very likely. Yeah, this game is nasty. It's easy to die in this game, but that's part of the fun. So you're going to create your adventurer. It's a very easy thing to do. You have 2 tables here, race and class. You're rolling 2d6 for each one to find out what race you are and what class you are. So for the race, you are given the name, the health points, and any abilities that you start with because of the race. You have your class, again, 2d6. You have your class, hit point adjustment, any other abilities you get, and also a starting weapon. So you just roll 2d6 twice to get all the information you need to start your character. You then give yourself a name. Sometimes you will start with basic spells. So here is a table you'll roll to find out what random spells you get. The spell system's very simple. Every spell you have can be cast once. If you roll a spell multiple times, it means you have multiple uses. And that's pretty much your character creation. You also need to note down that you start with 10 torches and no money. The torches are a way of monitoring your time, but also to determine when the game ends. When you enter the dungeon, you will use one torch that represents the light that you are going to need inside the dungeon. But there will also be times where you have to use a torch to do an action. And it's not necessarily using the torch to do the action, it's a measurement of the time to do the action. For example, if you come across a locked door, you can spend one torch to unlock the door. It doesn't mean that physically you're unlocking the door with the torch. That would be fucking hard. But what it represents is the time it takes for you to unlock the door. You use up one torch. Now, why is that important? Why do I need to know how many torches and how much time? Well, very simple, the darkness. The game states that if any time you're in the dungeon without a torch, the darkness will devour you, game over. Yeah? Your last torch is gone, you're in the dark, you've got no idea where you are, you get lost, monsters come, yeah, they get a nice little buffet. So does that mean that you're limited to only 10 torches in terms of your total game? Well, no. You can exit the dungeon, go back to the city. You can purchase and refill your stock of torches. You can only carry 10 maximum. And then you can go back to the dungeon. But be warned, if you leave the dungeon and go back, empty rooms have to be rolled for again in terms of monsters. And any monsters that you wounded are now back to full health. That's the that's the payment. That's the price you pay. What else? Okay, so once you've created your adventurer, you then build the dungeon. Now, this is a very, very clever design. Each dungeon has its own section, and once you've figured out the basic rules, and like I say, there's only 5 pages, well, basically 4 pages of rules. You'll be going to the section on the dungeon, and you won't need to move. You will create the dungeon name first. So to create the dungeon name, you're going to roll d6 3 times. First part, second part, third part of the name. The first part of the name also tells you what type of dungeon it is. There are 6 different types of dungeon. You have the palace, a crypt, a tomb, a sanctuary, a temple, and a prison. In the expanded rulebook, you get a lot more different types. I'll show those to you in a second, but just be aware, all these dungeons are different. All these dungeon types are very different. So you would roll a d6 to determine the dungeon type and the first part of your dungeon name. So for example, we've got a 5. We're in the temple. So we would go to page 20, it says here, and that would be all the temple information. But we're determining the name first. So the temple, 4. The Temple of the Cold Darkness. So that's the name of the dungeon that I'm going to explore. The Temple of the Cold Darkness. And like I say, once you've done that, you then go to the next section. You go to page 20. These are all the different dungeon types. Okay, and we come to the Temple Dungeon. Now, when you print this book, or if you print this book, highly recommend that you print double-sided, two-sided, and make sure that you print in this layout, in this format. Because that way you can open the book and you have all the Temple Dungeon stuff in front of you. And like I say, with my quick reference sheet, I shouldn't have to actually go back to anywhere in the book in future. The things I need to help me remember, it's all on here. So I can keep this open at this page, and everything that I need for my dungeon delve is on here for the temple. If I rolled up the palace, then we would go to the palace pages. And again, everything I need is on here. Okay. Very clever design. Now, you will be building your dungeon in segments. Segments can be corridors, rooms, or staircases. And you are going to randomly generate what comes next. What is the next segment? Where does this door lead? And normally the segments will be joined with doors. And doors, of course, are going to be an obstacle. But whenever you come to a door, you have to roll and see in what state it is. I'll get the one here. This is bigger. So whenever you come to a door and you want to open it, you have to roll a d6. On a 1, it's a trap. On a 2 or 3, it's locked. On a 4, 5, or 6, it's unlocked. Now, this is important because if the door is locked, you now have a couple of options. You can either just forget it and go somewhere else. You can try to pick the lock, which is going to cost you 1 torch. So it reduces your time. Or you can break down the door. The problem with breaking down the door is you can't close it anymore in case there's any big gribblies the other side. And any big gribblies the other side, any monsters the other side of that door are going to have the initiative in terms of the upcoming combat. Yeah? If it's unlocked, or if you unlock it, or if you disarm the trap, I'll come back to the trap in a minute, you will basically have the advantage in the upcoming combat if there's monsters in the room. So smashing down the door is not always the best idea, but it may be the only option if you want to save your torches for something else. In terms of the traps, if you find a trap on a door, you do have a chance to disarm it before it goes off. I mean, if you approach the door, you check it's a trap. You've basically got 2 options. You can either try to disarm it, or the trap's going to trigger. I think you can also find chests and secret passages that may have traps as well. But yeah, you have the option to disarm the trap, but again, it's going to cost you 1 torch, to disarm it. It can be a problem. It can be a problem. Right, so what else do we need to know? Open locks, move, okay, city. Yeah, you can leave the dungeon. As long as you've got a clear path, you can just leave the dungeon automatically. Otherwise, you may have to fight through rooms to get out. But you can leave the dungeon as long as you have torches, go back to the city, and then either rest, fix armor, buy torches, or sell items. But yeah, that's basically how it works. Okay, combat is so very, very simple. If the monsters have initiative, if you enter a room through setting off a trap or smashing down the door, then the monsters attack first. If you enter the room without setting off the trap, by unlocking it or just opening it normally, then you will have the initiative and you will attack first. And the combat is very simple. Whoever goes first will deal their damage to the other party. So say, for example, I go first. I would roll to see how much damage I do. I would then apply the damage to the monsters in the room, however I want. The monsters, the surviving monsters, would then do their damage to me. And I would take that damage. There is no armor saves. There is no parrying. There is no combat rolls. It's simply an exchange of damage. You can get armor to increase your HP or your health points, but when an armor has had all of its health points removed, it's destroyed. You can repair armor as long as it hasn't lost its last hit point. But you can find shoulder pads, you can find breastplates, you can find helmets, and you will add their hit points to yours, and you can deduct from wherever you want. When you take damage, you can take the damage yourself, or you can assign it to a piece of armor. But like I say, once that last hit point is gone on a piece of armor, it's destroyed. If it's merely damaged, you can get it repaired when you go back to the city. But that is how combat works. Now, it sounds dangerous, and it is. Some of the biggest creatures can probably kill you in 1 or 2 turns if you don't get the advantage. So smashing down the doors may not be the best idea, well, ever. But yeah, once you've done that, you then want to see what's the other side of the door. And this is where the dungeon generator comes in. And for that, we need to go to the specific dungeon type. Because again, like I mentioned, they're all different. So if we go back, where were we? We had the temple, didn't we? Well, let's go to the temple. Right. On this layout here, on this temple layout, you'll notice that there are a lot of tables. This is your generator. And it helps you to determine how to build the dungeon, how to populate and fill the dungeon, any potential traps, the bosses, the monsters, the treasure. It's all here. Oops. And like I say, every dungeon type is different. It has different contents, different roles. So let's say, for example, we're starting in the temple. It tells you at the start here, the first room. So it says, a beautiful structure stands among the plants and trees of the place. Its architecture is incredible and its walls are covered with strange inscriptions. The entrance is a large stone door. Behind it, an empty corridor with 4 more doors, 2 on each side. So with this dungeon, you would start with a corridor with 2 doors on each side. You would then check the door you want to go through. And once you've set off the trap or unlocked it or opened it, you would then roll to see what's on the other side. So then we come to here, the segments table. And the column that you roll is where you are now. So for example, like here, we're starting in a corridor. So in the next area, I would roll here, open from a corridor. So we're opening a door from a corridor. I would roll D6 on this column. If I'm in a room and open a door to the next segment, I would roll on this column to find out what's on the other side. Okay? Now, if it's a room, we also have to find out the content and whether there are monsters in the room. We don't do that for corridors or staircases unless the book tells you. Yeah? So staircases and corridors, you just normally just open up the segment and continue on. But with a room, you have to check content and monsters as well. Now, how do you get to the final boss? Well, you have to go down 2 staircases. Yeah, in this game, staircases always go down. And you have to go down to the 3rd level, in other words, 2 staircases to get to the boss's room. And it's just a large room, and you roll for the random boss, and you either run away or you fight to the death. That's it. Now, there may be a situation where you don't get to the 3rd level. Maybe you end up with a lot of dead ends. In that case, it's just the last room that you open, or the last area that you open will be the room of the boss. Tell you what, let us quickly design a dungeon. Let's go through the first few steps and we'll see how a dungeon is built. Okay, so let's say, for example, that we are doing a dungeon which is a tomb, like the one we rolled up a little bit earlier. It says here, dungeon was built inside an immense and imposing stone structure. Someone very important was buried here. Pillars and statues adorn the place. In front of you is a large stone door. Behind it, a long corridor with a door at the end and 2 other doors on the side. Okay, so what we do is we get our grid paper, decide where we're going to start. So let's start down the bottom here, or should we start at the top? Let's start at the top. So we'll start here. So it basically says there's a large stone door, behind it a long corridor with a door at the end and 2 other doors on the side. So what I can do is I can do a corridor like that. So it says a door at the end. So again, I've come up with a kind of key as to what symbols mean what. Broken just means it's coloured in. Right, so we've got a door here and 2 other doors on the sides. Now you can put these where you want. doesn't actually matter. So we got 3 doors. So we're coming in this direction here. So the way that we generate and construct this dungeon, or crypt, or tomb in this case, is that we have to now obviously go through one of these doors, but we need to check and see what the door is. So let's say, for example, that I want to go to the door on the end. I would come to this door and I would then have to roll, going back to here, I would need to roll on this table to find out what is the door. Is it a trap? Is it locked? Or is it unlocked? And as I mentioned, okay, so I've done like a quick reference sheet just to keep handy so I don't have to keep turning the pages on video. Yeah. When entering a dungeon, you'll consume 1 torch to light the way. So on my adventure sheet or character sheet or notepad or wherever you've made a note of this, you'd get rid of 1 torch to represent entering the dungeon. But we are now going to check this door. So the door, we're rolling a d6. We're checking this door here. We're rolling a d6 and we get a 2, which means it's locked. So I will put an L there to show that it's a locked door, as per my little symbols up here. So I've got choices. I can just ignore it and try one of the other doors. I can try to pick the lock, which will cost me 1 torch. Or I can break it down, which won't cost any torches, it won't cost me any time, but if there's any monsters the other side, they will attack me first. So what I could do, maybe I'll just ignore that. Or like I say, I could pick the lock, it's not a problem, but I think I'll just go back here. I don't want to use a torch just yet, because I've got like, 9 left now. So I'll check this door here on the right hand side. So again, we roll a d6. We get a 4, it's unlocked. So this door is unlocked. I'll check this one. And we get another 4. So both of these doors are unlocked. So I will leave them as the basic symbol here. Right, so now we're going to go through this one. So I'm going from a corridor into another segment. So from a corridor, you'll be rolling on this column, from a room here, and from a staircase here. So we're going from a corridor, so we're rolling a d6, we get a 4, we enter a wide room with 2 other doors. Now again, I've come up with some sort of standard thing here. So a wide room is 2 by 4, so we are going to have a room which is 2 by 4. 2 other doors. So I'm going to put a door, again, you can put the doors wherever you want or whatever makes sense. So I'm going to put my doors like that. So again, at the moment, I don't know what they are, whether they're locked or trapped or what, yeah? But because it's a room, I now have to check content and monsters. So for these, I'm rolling 2d6. So for the content, we get 10. A destroyed sarcophagus, it may have a secret passage. Ooh, there could be a secret path here. Now, to check for a secret passage, you have to spend 1 torch and then roll on here. So I think I will do that. So I'll just put a note here, torches, 10, 9, okay, so now I've got 8. So I'm gonna roll here, see if there's a secret passage. I've got a 6. It's a secret door to a staircase. Ooh, okay, so let's put the secret door here. And it leads to a staircase. So there's stairs going down. I was hoping it was going to be a chest. But there's going to be another door at the bottom. So now I've got... Oh, I've got to check for monsters. Hang on. Should I have done the monster? I think I should have done the monsters first before the secret door. So forget the secret door. We'll do that after the monsters. Now I rolled a 5 for the monsters, which I get a living armor. All right. So what I'm going to do, I've put here, look, room descriptions ABC. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put A. So I'm just going to make a note down the bottom here. I would actually, when I'm doing the game itself, I do have, like I say, I redesigned this in English. I put I changed all the Portuguese into English. So you've got here a place to put all your monsters and the boss. But I'm just doing it on this page to begin with. So I'm just putting a note here. We have living armor times 1. It has 8 health and does 3 damage. Now, because I came into this room without making a noise or without tripping a trap, try saying that when you're drunk, I attack first. So the living armor has 8 hit points. Let's say that I'm equipped with, what did I roll? A rapier plus d6 plus 1, minute. Rapier d6 plus 1. So I've got a rapier d6 plus 1. Okay, so I'm going to do damage to this guy now. I roll. I get a 3 plus 1 is 4, so he's now down to 4 hit points. He attacks me back, doing 3 damage. So I was a human, wasn't I? So my hit points starts at 20, so I take 3. I'm now down to 17. I attack back. I get a 6 plus 1 is 7. He is dead. So we defeated the creature, the living armor in there. Now he doesn't have any loot or anything. If they have treasure or loot, it'll actually say on the monsters. So I took 3 damage. I had to use a torch, but that room is now clear and I have that secret stairway and I've got 2 other doors. Now, to find the boss, you've got to go down 2 stairways to find the final boss's room. You don't have to fight the boss when you get there. You can come back up and do some other stuff. Go to some other rooms, fight some other monsters to try and find some more equipment or armor or whatever. But you've got to go down 2 sets of stairs to actually find the boss's room. So I know that there's a stairs down here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to check this door to see if there's any problems. So we're checking this door here. 4, it's unlocked. We'll check that door there. 5, unlocked. Okay, so both of these doors are unlocked as well. What I'm going to do is I'm going to continue down this way. So we're going to go through this door and we are going from a room. So we're now rolling on this column to find out what's on the other side of the door. So we roll, we get a 4, we get a wide room, but it doesn't say doors. So it's just another wide room, but there are no doors. Now, I don't have to draw it like this. I could have drawn it up here if I wanted to, but it doesn't matter. Right, so it's just a wide room with no further doors, so this is a dead end. But again, I still need to see what's inside. So I'm rolling, I get a 10, another destroyed sarcophagus, another possible secret passage. But what about monsters? Let's do the monsters before we... 5. Same thing. So, same thing. So I can put another A here. All right. So we get first attack because, again, the door was unlocked. We didn't make any noise. So we attack first. We do 3 damage. So he's down to 5. He hits me for 3. I'm down to 14. I hit him back for 7. He's dead. But again, there's no loot or anything. But there could be a secret passage. It said here, what did it say? 10. Destroyed sarcophagus, it may have a secret passage. Now again, I could sketch in here a sarcophagus, but my art skills aren't that good. So I'm going to try this wall here for the secret passage. I put this one here because there wasn't much other places to put it. So I'm going to look here for a secret passage. It's going to cost me another torch. So I'm down to 7. And we roll for the secret passage and we get, oh no, we activate a trap. So now we have to roll and see what trap happens. A 6. You hear a click, but nothing happens. So there was a secret there, but it was a trap. Okay, now there's nothing else in here. There's no other ways, so we can go back to this room. We can either go down the staircase or we can go through this door. Again, we checked it, it was unlocked. So I'm going to see what's on the other side. So we're going from a room, so we're rolling on this column here. 4, another wide room. Okay, well I'll do it this way this time. I mean, technically it's long, depending on your point of view. But again, there's no exit doors. So content, we get a 6. Pile of bones and D6 coins. 3. Okay, so in here there are 3 coins. I'll put 3G, 3 gold. Is there any monsters? 7. No monsters. Right, so I can take those coins. Because there's no monsters here, I don't have to fight. I can take the coins, so now I have 3 coins. I found some money. But there's no other ways out of here. There's no secrets. It would have told me otherwise. Okay, so now I've got choices. I can come back to here, go down the secret stairway, or come back to the first corridor and go through the door. Well, again, let's check that door, see what's on the other side. So we're going back from a corridor this time. So we're rolling. We get a 2. Medium-sized room with another door. So again, here, medium-sized room, I'm going to do is 3 by 3. So we have a 3 by 3 room. And it says there is another door. So I think I'm just going to put the door here. Don't know what it is yet, whether it's locked or trap or what. It's a room, so we have to check for content. We get a 7 sarcophagus with a chest inside. Now I've just put a symbol here for chest. Chest, okay. Check for monsters. We get 8. No monsters, wonderful. So we have a chest. Now the way that we do chests is you roll 2d6. You roll 2d6. The dice which is highest tells you how many coins, and the dice which is the lowest tells you how many treasures. Bum, bum, bum. Treasures. However, if you roll a double 1, it's empty and it's a trap. All right, so we're checking the chest in this empty room. We get 4 coins. So we've now got 7 coins, and we've got 3 treasures. So let's put the treasures over here. So we've got 3 treasures, so we roll. We get a 2, health potion. What's that? Recover all HP. Nice. Second treasure is a 3. Oh, sorry, what am I rolling 2 dice for? 1 dice. A 5. Roll on the wonders column. We get a 4, potion of fury. Damage +2 until the end of the fight. Ooh. And the third one is a 2, another health potion. So I find 3 potions, 2 health and 1 fury in that chest. We have a door. Again, like I said, everything you need is on these 2 pages here in terms of constructing the dungeon, in terms of what's in the dungeon. It's all here. As long as you print it correctly like this, you just open the book and everything's there. The parts that you need from the rules, again, after a couple of games, you'll remember most of it, but it's so simple, so easy. So we'll just do one more, and then we'll get back to the rules description. So we check the door. The door is 5, unlocked. Oh, really lucky here. So we check through the door. So we're going from a room. So we're rolling d6. We get a 3. Medium-sized room, but it says again there's no doors. So it's another dead end. Now you could end up not finding that 3rd level. Yeah, the 2 staircases and the final boss's room. Because you may end up with all dead ends and nowhere else to go. If that's the case, the last room that you do counts as the boss's room. But as long as you still have options and places to move, like for example, like here, I have a dead end here, a dead end here, a dead end here. Forget the stairway, okay? I can't say that this is the final boss's room because I've still got an option here. I've still got this door here, which could lead to the boss. So this would not be the boss's room. I'd have to try and go through this door somehow if I want to find the boss. Right, so it's an empty room, no doors. However, we still have to check for content. 6, pile of bones and d6 coins. 1 coin. We took that, didn't we? So we've got 1 gold in here. Monsters, are there any monsters in here? Oh crap, yes. We got a 10. 2 living armors. Oh shit, all right, so I'll put the letter B here because it's a different battle. Living armor times 2. So 8 and 8 And they're doing 3 damage each. Shit. Now, the game doesn't say whether you can actually run away. Now, I did enter the room first, so I will attack first. I don't know whether I can run away or not. I didn't see that in the rules. I'll have to check afterwards, because this is going to be nasty. I've got 14 health left. All right, so I go first. I'm using my rapier. Actually, I want to use my fury potion, don't I? I think I want to use my fury potion. Damage +2 until the end of the fight, so I'll use that. Yep. So using potions, does it count as an action? Doesn't say. It doesn't say. It doesn't take long to swig a potion, I suppose. Yeah, doesn't say. So I assume that it doesn't matter. So I'm getting +2 damage. All right. I may have to use the health potion if my health goes down. So I'm attacking first because the door wasn't locked or anything. So I'm attacking, I roll, I get 4 damage, 4, 5, 6 damage. So this guy's down to 2, still alive, unfortunately. So these guys both attack, they do 6 damage. I'm down to 8. I'm going to drink one of my potions of health. That brings me up to full. I attack back. 3, 4, 5 damage. So this guy's dead. I do 3 damage to this guy. He's still alive on 5. They attack me back for 6. I'm now down to 14 again. I hit back and I do 5, 6, 7 damage and he's dead. If it wasn't for that health potion, I'd have been in a lot of trouble. But I can now pick up the gold because the monsters are dead. So I've got 8 coins. Okay, so I mean, I've just started the dungeon here. This was the starting corridor, like I say, and I've just explored a little bit of the dungeon. There are still places to explore, so now I've got a choice. This is a dead end, and a dead end here. So I can now come back. I can try maybe pick the lock or smash the door down and continue on this way, or I can come down here and find out what's at the bottom of these secret stairs. Or a third option is I can now go back to the town and city, pay coins to replenish my torches, to heal back. Yeah, so there's a lot of things that I can now do if I wanted to take this even further. But I think now you can see how this game actually works and functions. And like I say, once you find the boss, whether it's you go down 2 flights of stairs or whether it's the last room that you can go in, you then roll to see who the boss was. So maybe for this dungeon, the boss would have been number 4. Flying around your sarcophagus? Flying around a sarcophagus is the Ghost King of the Lost Swamp. 10 health, 4 damage, and intangible. Intangible, what's that? What's that? Takes no damage if the damage is an even number. Oh, Christ. So yeah, that's how we do the basic dungeons. As you can see, there's a lot of variety, a lot of ways of doing it. You have some flexibility in the way that you position the rooms or angle the rooms, that will rotate the rooms, the placement of doors. Again, there's a lot of things you can do to, again, keep things fresh so that one dungeon is not the same as the other. And like I mentioned, in the basic game, you get 6 types of dungeon, which are all different. In the advanced book, you've got even more. So yeah, that's how you construct the dungeon. And that's pretty much all you need to know for the basic game. And like I say, that's a pay what you want, so you could download for free, or you could put some money to the way of the designer. However, like I say, I do recommend getting the expanded version, the full game, which is only $2. Like I say, $2 on the interweb. So guys, thanks again for watching. I really appreciate that. Don't forget to click the like and subscribe buttons. And take care of yourselves. Stay safe, be good to each other. Cheers.